If you knew this game as well as I did, if you had the strategic depth of knowledge that I have on this game, you would understand just how incredible this strategy is right now. Oh! It's incredible!
Hello and welcome to Spring Commander Forge Alliance. We're in a 1v1 ladder match between BlackDeath playing a Cyber and going first land, 2 P-Gens. Very exciting. And Crazed going Cyber and going first land, 2 P-Gens again. So of course Crazed, her recent Worldwide People's Championships in the O2000 division where he played Zoc twice, took a direct challenge and played once again. I'm not really sure if those will ever be casted, but I still don't want to ruin what happened. I'm sure most people already know. But anyway, he's taking on BlackDeath, who doesn't really play tourneys, but he is one of the most prolific ladder players. Probably plays the most games at the top, at least with the rating as high as his. Here, these ratings are actually the rank ladder ratings, not the global ratings, so they're a little lower than what you might expect. BlackDeath is actually number 12 on the global ladder. Of course, here we get extremely similar things going on. BlackDeath and Crazed going with early hunters, very symmetric. Big land, spam land. Looks like it will be 2 engineers to the factory, air, and 3 P-Gens, and then eventually, yeah, this engineer has a lot of plans. 4 land factories around Mask Striker is going to try to utilize that bonus. That's going to be 0.3 mass per factory while it's working, so 1.2, so it's a little over 1/2 of a Tech 1 mask extractor bonus that he's going to get. Actually, about 1/2 a mask extractor, which can count for something. And this hunter looks like has snuck in for Crazed. Very similar. I mean, these players are like mirrors of each other, except BlackDeath has an extra hunter. He's going to try to deny the top. This will be a good place to go. 2 ACU is also nearly identical. So 4-Leaf Clover, one of these maps which I don't mind playing it too much. One I used to play a lot, but it's really frustrating. If you screw up in the beginning, you're gonna die, and this mass in the middle in a 1v1 becomes very critical. Although some people have builds where they completely ignore that and just use all these wrecks very efficiently, and then sort of laugh. But it's a very, very dangerous map to play where a single mistake can lead to huge map control loss and things like that. So it looks like this hunter here is going to wait for engineers. No engineers coming. And we got the hunter right here for Crazed. It looks like a Mantis is on a scouting mission here. He's going to find it, clear it. But early on, we're seeing both players really not getting too many mask extractors. We just seen the 4 for Crazed. He's finally getting his 5th with an engineer. He did stop by to get a couple with his ACU on his way to the mass, and that could be a mistake because BlackDeath, the rush to the middle, is going to get a lot of reclaim. But looking at BlackDeath, he's still only on 4 mask extractors here. 3 minutes, 30 seconds. That's because he's getting all this reclaim from the side, and he did get a lot of reclaim from the middle. So BlackDeath here at 1,000 reclaim, no mass problems. He's got just a little more power than Crazed. He's still fighting them for mass. And now bombers. That was that second air that Crazed went for. It's now going to count for something. Here comes the bomber. He's got to get some kills. He's got a very nice scout. Knows exactly what's going on. And how did that bomb just miss? I think that was a nice stutter move there by BlackDeath's engineers, as if they were going forward and then they just went sideways. One thing to notice, a Tech 2 mask extractor for BlackDeath. So a Tech 2 mask extractor with only 4 Tech 1 mask extractors. That's what you can do with early reclaim. And you can see he was spamming power so hard, but because he did use all of his power on that Tech 2 mass upgrade, he wasn't able to get air, but very efficiently defends with flak. So here what we've seen, BlackDeath kind of pull a gambit here, going for that early tech. There was definitely a gamble. He he did get the mass. It looks like so far it's worked out for him because he's got a big power advantage, and his mass is also going pretty well. But he's still only getting his 7th mass extractor. But overall, very good economy. Single engineer on mass. Getting his 4th land factory. And so far, neither player really made any progress going to the expansions except one engineer here for Crazed. But that very early hunter from BlackDeath might still pay off. Still, there's a Mantis fight going on the right side of BlackDeath's base. Meanwhile, Crazed going pretty aggressive with his ACU. Very advanced factory from BlackDeath. Gets an engineer, gets a raider, very nice raider. Now he knows a lot about what's going on. I can't believe I don't have all these things on. Oh my gosh, I apologize. Oh jeez, okay. Okay, so now I can see that raider's quite good. He knows exactly the position of all these units, and he knows when anybody's going to try to sneak in. This engineer is very important for BlackDeath. He does not want to lose it. Might expect Crazed to push down. And here a couple of Manta here to intercept. And Crazed just sort of been running around in circles. He kind of went on a J, backwards J here. And at this point, this game is extremely even. Now, actually, 25-25 mass. We have a tech to mass extractor for Crazed yet? I don't think so. I think he just has more tech ones. He's got, not really sure where he's got the extras because this engineer is also an expansion. And maybe finally this hunter can get a kill. And in the middle, BlackDeath has taken over. Both players identical ecos there, 29-29. The power of this difference is just a reclaim. So a very evenly matched game. See a single engineer assisting the air factory. That's really the good way to balance how much power you're using. And Crazed decides to leave. There must be a tech to mass extractor somewhere. Don't know where it is, but how does Crazed has the same income? And now Crazed losing health here rapidly. Still just tech one. I see all those Medusas. People have been talking about nerfing them. They're a lot more accurate now than they used to be, and you can see they keep hitting over and over at the ACU, and Hardy versus ACU of course hurts quite a bit. And now it's going to be a struggle for central position. If you have central position, you have access to the side expansions. So if you got middle, you have about 3 times as much economy as the other player. It's very important not to let one of the expansions fall, and at this point it looks like the game at minute 8 it's going to be decided that Crazed is going to have the right while BlackDeath is going to have the left, although here Crazed at half health could be in a bit of trouble. He's rapidly retreating while BlackDeath is looking like he is going for the kill. He's got full health. He's pressing hard. Crazed actually 2 forces here might think about catching BlackDeath rushing in, and it looks like Crazed escaped just in time. They're 3,000 health. And one thing to note, a lot of artillery in this force for BlackDeath. I think quite a bit more than what we see for Crazed. And here this is purely a couple arty here as well. And this could be a victory for Crazed if I think he's got the numbers. Could be a dangerous thing for BlackDeath if he doesn't cover this back. We also have power storage here, doesn't want to lose that. Looks like that's the early hunter here with 3 kills, still alive. So at this point, no sign of Tech 2 from anybody. And not a lot of airplay at all. We did see that early bomb from Crazed that didn't get any kills. We are now seeing a bomber from BlackDeath. Gestures, of course, are always a good option on this map. Very spread out. And transports, I mean drops in the back of the base over these mountains. It's a classic thing to do on 4-leaf clover. BlackDeath getting some point defenses in the middle. And now it looks like we called it a little too early that it's been decided. Looks like Crazed is coming in here. He's trying to go against the narrow end of BlackDeath's force. That's what you always want to do. You want to get the wide end versus the narrow end. Maximize the firepower. That's the basics just of formations, probably in any game. And it looks like Crazed is not going to come in. He's probably anticipating killing a whole bunch of units here, but he won't find them. And now Bomber's making an appearance, a couple kills. Crazed, meanwhile, getting an upgrade. And now Bomber's going to dive rather quickly. So the Air Force has been pretty minor in this game. It's all been Manti and the Medusas and the ACUs. And now Crazed with the gun. As BlackDeath has just taken over the middle, but there is this force for Crazed in the back that's really going to deny. Actually, two forces in either expansion. And now Crazed with this gun. I think that's going to be a little too hard for BlackDeath to do anything. Excellent placement on this point defense. Going to get a lot of kills. BlackDeath thinks he's going to get a whole bunch of easy kills here, but he's going to run into his death. Very unfortunate there for BlackDeath. I think here he just needs to pull back. Half health on that point defense, still getting kills. Looks like it'll actually survive. 8 kills, and it's just been a total massacre. Crazed dominating, and Crazed now with a huge reclaim. And looks like he's got units in either side, but the middle is taken by BlackDeath. BlackDeath 14 kills, reclaiming some factories in the middle. Crazed 28 kills and the gun. And BlackDeath now trying to rush in directly into Crazed's base. And this is where BlackDeath's trying to utilize his numbers advantage, because all these units that Crazed is not really using, they're just holding the position. And amazingly, this engineer survived for BlackDeath, sort of sat inconspicuously as his force went around. And it appears that Crazed was able to defend his base here, both choke points. And for his troubles, he's going to get a huge amount of reclaim. I think this may be a breaking point in this game. You see a pretty big power advantage for BlackDeath, 120 power. 120 power, very special number for power. That's the amount of mass it takes to get 120 power in Tech 1 P-Gens is the same as a Tech 1 to Tech 2 mass ejector upgrade. It's also how much power you need to power Tech 2 shield, or how to run an air factory with a couple NGs on it. So it's a very important thing to know for just balancing your eco. You don't have to know it, you might just feel it, but it's nice to know it as well. Here, and it looks like this force decides to make an appearance for Crazed. And after 13 minutes, one thing to note, the sides have been very absent for both players. I mean, this is as much expansion as we've seen here for BlackDeath, and that's been kind of a fluke. This engineer playing a bit stealthy there. And now more Tech 2 mass ejectors. So more power for Crazed and more mass for BlackDeath. And Tech 2, oh wow. Tech 2 factory for BlackDeath in the middle. Very dangerous position. You do not want to lose that. Very dangerous move there by BlackDeath, but he's actually not producing anything from it. He's got a Tech 2 engineer moving in. I think that Tech 2 engineer needs to get a Tech 2 point defense as soon as possible. Crazed now taking over the middle. And this is just ridiculous. And here, BlackDeath loses Tech 2 factory. That is going to be a big loss. I don't think he will. He's got a Tech 1 point defense and plenty of units to defend with. And really, the top has been no man's land. We've also seen some Tech 2 mass ejectors now for Crazed. And finally, let's see if this engineer survives, actually. Wouldn't be surprised if it does. And now it's going to be more Tech 2 engineers. And in a Tech 2 stage, it's basically every single game on 4-leaf clover, it becomes a Tech 2 point defense creep. Whoever can get better positioning, and that's exactly what BlackDeath is trying to initialize here. So moving from the big swarms of Manti into a whole bunch of Cerberus. Yep, Cerberus stars. I'm not sure if that's a 3-headed dog in Greece or something. I'd like to ask Vasily about that one. But it might as well be. See, it's a 3-headed dog. and firing directly on Crazed. He's got 68 kills with the gun. Meanwhile, BlackDeath pushing up. And looks like these two Manta might be able to take out this factory. Be a bit dangerous. So what we might actually see is this map split vertically. And a lot of reclaim here still for BlackDeath. Looks like BlackDeath is going to get a big reclaim field for himself as he's doing a point defense creep up. He's definitely trying to cut that off. Crazed does not want to lose this passageway. And does Crazed have Tech 2 point defenses coming somewhere? He's got Tech 2 air, so he's going Tech 2 gunships. So a different strategy. Tech 2 gunships, of course, in a spread out map like this, you can very well deny a lot of Tech 1 mask extractors, of course, expansions, and anything that doesn't have Tech 2 flak by it. And you need a lot of Tech 2 flak to cover a big map. Crazed pushed all the way back to his base. Still going to use his ACU to get some free kills, 72 kills. And this Tech 2 factory has just produced Tech 2 engineers. It hasn't really produced many Tech 2 units. Might be a bit surprising. At least to me that's surprising. There is going to be some Tech 2 flak, and that's really going to be a good counter to these gunships. And now we're seeing a Tech 2 transport, so we're going to see some drops here from Crazed. Let's see Manti versus Artie. If the Manti keep moving, they will win. It's been a minor fight going on here. And another push now from BlackDeath. I think he's going to run into his death again. Plenty of units to defend for Crazed. It's just going to be maximizing the firepower here. As Crazed is now at 83 kills. We're seeing Tech 2 power for BlackDeath. The difference between Tech 1 P-Gens and Tech 2 P-Gens, of course, for the amount of mass you get about 50% more power generation. Comparison between Tech 1 and Tech 3, it's nearly triple, so it's about double from Tech 2 to Tech 3, and about 50% more from Tech 1 to Tech 2. But it's always nice to get the Tech 2 when you have the chance. But BlackDeath building in very dangerous positions directly in the middle, and once he gets that, his power is going to be about double of what Crazed has, and that's going to open up some possibilities. For example, a much bigger air spam, perhaps more upgrades on the ACU, perhaps Tech 3 if he's got the mass for it. And he's got a lot of scouts coming up. I would expect him to switch a couple of these factories, get more build capacity on his air. Otherwise, he's just going to be wasting so much power. And now here comes, what is that? Is that a ghetto? Wow, Crazed going with a ghetto and torpedo bombers. Okay, that's just crazy. I've never seen torpedo bombers on this map. No, I think that's not a ghetto. I think that's Manti. No, that's a ghetto. That's a bunch of hunters. But I don't think he's ever going to kill BlackDeath here. He's got a whole bunch of Tech 2 flak next to him. So he's going to go directly after BlackDeath's base. There is some Tech 1 flak here, which is not that big a deal. Still not sure about the torpedo bombers, but the gunship's doing a good job. So let's see. So far, Crazed with the better strategy. Sketter's just going at it. Not too many losses yet for BlackDeath. I mean, in this situation, if this ever happens to you, the most important thing is not to panic. It's just wait for it to fall out of the sky so you can reclaim it. But eventually you may have to panic because all the flak is dead. And there's nothing to shoot back against it, and there's no air. We do see some Tech 2 flak trying to make its way back home. And this is where Crazed realized that all the Tech 2 flak is really concentrated in the middle, and the back is being very exposed. And this is going to be some damage. Let's see when the Tech 2 flak comes, though. They're coming home to take back the land. The ghetto, though, flies away. But we see the damage was done. 2 Tech 2 mask extractors, a lot of engineers were dead. And now it's going to be more Tech 1 mask extractors. So tech to air so far, definitely the better way to go instead of these tech 2-point defenses, which have given BlackDeath total control over the middle. There's really not much that can be done about the middle against BlackDeath, but all the periphery here is in total disarray. And here we're seeing Corsairs versus Flak. This is really good strategy. Tech 2 bombers versus Flak, which opens up the door for gunships to do more damage. Getter can come back in. Now power storage is going to go down. Meanwhile, I'm missing some stuff here in the middle. Crazed taking shots to the face. He needs to move. He's at 110 kills. And this tech 2-point defense creep from BlackDeath has made it all the way to his base. So these tech 2-point defenses is not going to keep him completely stuck. Oh, and tech 2 power is taken out by the gunships. Great kill there by Crazed. Gunships are going to go against the single Flak, and I don't think they're going to make it. But they do the damage. They take out the tech 2 power. And here BlackDeath down to 380. He was just at 1,000, but losing all the tech 1 and tech 2. BlackDeath now with a nice... Oh my god, that was... Oh, BlackDeath thought he had a nice force of hoplites, but he didn't. Crazed knocks about 5 of them down there in one shot. Oh, Crazed just playing brutal here. I mean, things looked so good for BlackDeath until that tech 2 air came out. And this is the way to use tech 2 air, not just to rush them in a straight line. You choose the targets, and then you utilize the gunships, the ghettos, and the tech 2 bombers in their own way. Of course, tech 1 air to deny. What the thing that Crazed saw though was BlackDeath was really not making too much air at all. Even when he had all that excess power, I was really expecting the BlackDeath to start making much more air, and that's what Crazed utilized. And now the ghettos are out on the field. No tech 2 Flak here. And that's the weakness. Even though tech 2 Flak is very effective, you can't have tech 2 Flak everywhere. And if you do, you've spent a lot of mass on it. So the middle is still quite secure. There is some tech 2 Flak there. I guess there's one that had 11 kills, but the ghettos combined to kill it. And this force though from BlackDeath is in the position to kill those two mass extractors if they continue. So actually here Crazed is not doing that good anymore. I mean, he's still got good tech to air, but taking over the middle on 4-leaf clover is always a very good position. And looks like this has allowed BlackDeath to take over the bottom expansion. The top expansion, of course, is completely dominated by torpedo bombers. And now we're seeing Tech 1 versus Tech 2. Tech 1 wins. Big loss for for Crazed. But Air here will eventually take care of the situation. 125 kills for Crazed. He's sort of sitting back at his base, and he needs a lot more good ideas. See BlackDeath here recovering. Looking at the mass though, Crazed still in a much better shape. He's got a lot of Tech 2. No, he's got Tech 3. Crazed is gone with a Tech 3 mask checker. He needs to get some TMD on that if he loses that. So this base right here is much smaller than the rest of the map, but he's producing a lot of mass. This right here is producing 27 mass, which is more than half of all the mass production that Crazed has. And that's the most valuable thing that he's got on the map. More Tech 2 bombers. Actually quite a few Tech 2 bombers. And the thing about Tech 2 bombers is we've seen that they can fly over Tech 2 Flak at least temporarily. And another stream of units from BlackDeath just coming in. BlackDeath, meanwhile, you can see at the reclaim, total imbalance in this eco. He doesn't have enough power. He's wasting mass. Crazed, meanwhile, doing quite well. Inside the reclaim, a little more for BlackDeath, but he's not able to utilize it. And this Tech 1 force, I don't think it's really going to do much except feed Crazed. Of course, has the gunned ACUs now, got 131 kills. Tech 2 bombers on the loose for Crazed. And they're going against Tech 2 Flak. There's maybe some dodging action from BlackDeath. I don't really know if I agree with this. perhaps just going on the periphery, denying these 8 mass extractors quite easily with those Tech 2 bombers would be the better way to go. That's 16 mass. That's a third of the mass production that BlackDeath has. Although, of course, mass in such high supply probably wouldn't be too much, but maybe going after this Tech 2 power. I think he's still in position. You need 3 Tech 2 bombers to take out that power generator. And that's all he's got to do, take that out, and that's going to put BlackDeath in a bad position again. Now that he's got that Tech 2 power generator, he's once again has a very good economy. Quite even except for that power. And now some Tech 2 power for Crazed. I wouldn't be surprised if we see cruise missiles here shortly, although these 2 players might think they're such high level that the player definitely has Tech 2 TMD. But they should be at the level where they have enough scouts to know that neither of them have it. And both of them definitely do have some assets. They do not want to get sniped. Mainly this power, a couple Tech 2 mass extractors, Tech 3 mass extractor, and this power. More gunships coming up for Crazed. BlackDeath slowly creeping away with mass. He's now got both expansions. And that's a total of 10 plus 9, 19. So that's 38 mass that he's getting from those expansions. He only really has 1 Tech 2 mass extractor. All the others were killed. But he's got a lot of Tech 1s. Now both of them are sitting on Tech 2 power. Very similar. And now finally the torpedo bombers, no longer able to defend, are going to be taken out. Here in minute 27. I think it's definitely time for Crazed to do something crazy here. Because he's not going to win a SimCity fight. And now Tech 2 flag being spread all over the map by BlackDeath, and he's also investing quite heavily in air, realizing that that's probably how Crazed is going to try to beat him. And actually coming in, I'd love to see some Tech 2 flag here instead of wangers, because those gunships are going to die very easily. And now a push on the ground from BlackDeath. Crazed. Well, he'll be alright except for those gunships. Those gunships are going to die. Also transports. And somehow Crazed going Tech 3 instead of making flak. I think there's a bit of panic now for Crazed. He does not need to go Tech 3 yet. He needs a single flak. Because now all these gunships coming out are just going to die right away. Now we're seeing some Tech 1 flak coming out. But we are seeing from BlackDeath more Tech 3 mass extractors and Tech 3 land. And I think he might actually be able to afford that Tech 3 mass extractor. BlackDeath though with a significantly better eco. Looks like he's sitting on 2 Tech 2 powers. He's got Tech 2 radar. Still no TMD though. He needs some TMD. We're also seeing Tech 2 mass extractors being capped by mass storage for BlackDeath, so he's also taking up many kills for this Tech 1 anti-air turret. Now it's time for BlackDeath to fly away. But he's completely denied all air from Crazed, and the worst thing about not having air, of course, is that you have no more intel, so you have no idea what's coming. Crazed now 152 kills, nearly full health. Has some wangers, some Tech 1 point defenses. Looks like he's going to try to defend his base here, minute 30, with his bare hands. And he nearly has Tech 3 land. Of course, this is not going to be a surprise. BlackDeath has total recon over Crazed base, so he knows exactly what's going on. He should be anticipating those loyalists. And loyalists really not that big a deal for him. And BlackDeath finally realizing there is no TMD. Getting some cruise missile launchers, and that's going to be absolutely devastating. Except that the loyalist does have some TMD on it. That's one interesting thing about Cyber. They have TMDs in secret places. looks like eventually all those airplanes are going to fly away for Black Death. But multiple Tech 3 mask extractors. Of course, Loyalist is a moving TMD, so you don't really want to rely on it too heavily. Crazed, 179 kills. About halfway on his health. Now he's finally getting some assistance. And these two Tech 2-point defenses here from Black Death have been very nice. 190 kills for Crazed. Really been keeping Crazed in his base. Here come the cruise missiles. Let's see if the Loyalists can do something about it. I don't see any TMD yet. Looks like... oh, there was plenty of TMD. Oh. But that's the thing about Cybern. They're so difficult to defend against. You need multiple missiles. Of course, those secondary missiles don't do nearly as much damage. More TMD coming up. So perhaps a lost opportunity there. It'll take many hits to break a Tech 3 mask structure, given all that TMD. Well, some Manta actually snuck in. It will be an annoyance for Crazed. And Crazed now, you can look at the eco. He's got multiple Tech 3 mask extractors. Has a very nice eco. Very much comparable to Black Death, who's got 3/4 of the map, and now he's getting ready transport. And if you drop off a Loyalist across this mountain, the Loyalist can't take care of a lot of units. I would love to see a Loyalist here and a Loyalist here, and Black Death is going to be in huge trouble. So it was a good idea there from Black Death, but just maybe a little too slow. Tech 3 land now for Black Death here, min 32, and a brick. Brick versus ACU. This is definitely a victory for the ACU. Is Crazed gonna get in a transport? I think he's thinking about it. Or something going on like that. More cruise missiles. Oh, and a Tech 2 mask extractor gets taken out. Cyberns just have really good missiles. It will be rebuilt. That's so much TMD right in front of it. Now Tech 1 map. Interceptors are going to come in, kill the Tech 2 transport. Actually, these Tech 2 transports do have some anti-air on them. Multiple bricks on the field for Black Death. You did see that Loyalists were on the field. Of course, bricks much better, but with this ACU with already 193 kills, the base regen is 18 plus 33. It's 51, so a brick will still kill him. Black Death, Tech 2 Air Factory, still only making Tech 1 interceptors. Quite a few Tech 2 mask extractors in this position. Tech 2 ACU and a brick spam. So Loyalists and an ACU versus bricks. That's what we're going to see here shortly. I don't really see anything else happening. Oh, this is going to be a nice drop. A bunch of Manta in enemy territory. So Flak is going to come in, kill the transport. Those Manta need to move. They need to go in and start killing. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen a drop here with a Loyalist or anything. Those transports were there. I think Crazed was busy thinking about something else. But this will definitely be effective. Finally, some Tech 2 flak and some artillery. Some Tech 3 arty now for Crazed. And the brick number is now going up 4 bricks. And I think if they focus fire, we're also seeing stealth fields here from Black Death. Crazed has no idea there's bricks here. He will know once he gets shot. Black Death knows there's an ACU there. He's got him on radar. Black Death still does not know, or Crazed does not know. He's pushing ahead. Looks like the bricks are not focusing on Crazed. Loyalists are rushing in bravely, getting absolutely slaughtered. Crazed needs to retreat. One successful overcharge. Oh, and Crazed, why did he rush in so hard? I think now if he needs to just run. Why isn't Black Death pursuing him? I think he may have taken a little too long. Now this Tech 3 arty is going to get wiped off the map. And gunships now from Black Death. big problems for Crazed. He needs to keep going home. There should be some tech to flak here coming in shortly. Oh, we're also seeing some fire beetles. Bricks together with gunstrips. Crazed is going to high-five his Tech 3 engineer, who's going to definitely die. Some tech to flag finally comes in, an overcharge from Crazed. Another Tech 3 engineer walks by, and I think Crazed could have had it at the end there. He had that earlier Tech 3 and those Tech 2 transports. I think if he would use them more aggressively. Instead, he was up on the front fighting bricks, and BlackDeath, very impressive. I mean, there are very good players there who can beat Crazed and the ones who play in the Worldwide People's Championships, definitely. So, hopefully people enjoy this one. I definitely did.